all my evenings and weekends, I was just honing my skill, working with models and photographers, building my portfolio, getting unpaid jobs, under
for exposure.
For exposure and for credit. People still try and get me to do that now. It's incredible.
Susie Beauty, why did you decide to go for
So
a name?
I wasn't going to. I came up with a lot of really funny names.
What are some of the names on the list?
I'll tell you my favorite one, which
Yes.
I'm not opposed to still, but my mom was like, seriously?
You should.
Can you not? I was going to call it Paka Beauty. I don't do paid advertising.
Yeah.
Sorry, advertisers. Sorry, all you people that call me, that try to charge me. And I'm like, why? And they're like, but because you need it. I'm like, actually don't.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis and quite excited for the episode that you have lined up today. Today we're going to be exploring such an interesting topic. How exactly do you build and sell your business? And the guest I have with me today has done that. And before I get on to my guest and before I get to reveal my guest, I want to let you know that we are at the Capital Club where all entrepreneurs need to be. At the Capital Club, you have all access to every particular amenity you can actually think about. The gym, the spa, meeting rooms, everything you need to think, you can actually get to do within one particular space. You can do it at the Capital Club. My guest today has featured on a book I've actually done called The Business Conquest, on a chapter, How to Build and Sell Your Business. She's a makeup artist by profession and a businesswoman by experience. Coincidentally, today we're all in black and red. Coincidentally, you're not planned this. It's not a date, but it's a business date. Susie, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you
nice
for having
to see
me.
you.
So nice to see you.
It's always good. It's always good energy seeing you.
For sure.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
How's 2023 for you so far?
It's great. I love it so far, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we were just speaking earlier about, what's it called, our traveling and our experiences and going abroad.
Yes.
Which is very, very interesting.
Travel is important.
And maybe just to start off this particular conversation, you've been a makeup artist. You've been through every particular phase of it. Just take me back. When did you fall in love with makeup?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I am a makeup artist at heart. And as much as I call myself now a beautypreneur. So the beauty bit is still in it. So I was that little girl who would use my mom's lipstick all over her face or play with my mom's stuff. So I always loved beauty. When we were in college, I would do my girlfriend's faces before we go out. I started plucking my own eyebrows in my teens. So beauty was always there. So I found out later after I got my degree in international relations and I was in New York working in fashion and beauty, I discovered, it can actually be a career. And I dove in.
Interesting. And you'd gone through your degree and then primarily having grown with African parents, it's always, why would you want to go study and then go apply things on people's faces? How was that conversation with your parents?
A few years ago, my dad would be like, before I started Suzie, he's like, so what do you do? I'm like, I do makeup. Are you a model? I'm like, no, I do makeup on the models. He's like, so you decorate people? I'm like, okay.
It's like a party decoration.
Let it go.
Yeah.
So, I graduated and I have a degree in international relations, which I quite quickly knew I wouldn't do much with. I say I handed my parents their degree, but no, I don't discount the college situation for nothing. I needed that. And once I did that, they allowed me to spread my wings. In fact, my siblings were like, she's done that, so let her do what she wants. Because I really wanted to get into fashion and beauty. Interesting.
And once you got done with the degree in the US, you enrolled for other particular courses. Just take me through your early phase of transitioning, whereby now I've done it for my parents, here are your papers, let me begin my life now.
Yeah.
What exactly are some of the steps that you strategically took to get you to where exactly it is that you are right now?
Nice question. So I went into corporate America. So I just got entry-level positions just to get a feel of what it's like. I ended up in New York working in fashion because my sister, Lisa, worked in New York in fashion and she had this fancy life. And I was like, I like that. So she's like, come on over. And I went dabbling in different areas of the fashion industry. And there's apparel, there's accessories, there's eyewear, there's beauty. They're all inside of fashion. And I did actually a bit of each one. I'm not a big fashionista. Where I did fall in love was with cosmetics and also eyewear for some reason. I always had a job in eyewear. My corporate job, my full-time job, bread and butter was in designer eyewear. I did product development for designer eyewear. But I always did beauty on the side. I was trained by 2 companies, Clinique and MAC. And then I didn't want to work in the retail cosmetic space, so I opted to freelance. So on my evenings and weekends, I was just honing my skill, working with models and photographers, building my portfolio, getting unpaid jobs, you know, under...
For exposure.
For exposure and for credit. You know, people still try and get me to do that now. It's incredible. 23 years later.
For exposure.
They're like, oh, you know, but we'll put your name. I'm like, yeah. So I did a lot of that. I definitely paid my dues, I'll tell you that. And then moving back home in 2007, I could get to do it full time because I was coming back home where the beauty industry was sort of growing. Yeah. Quite young, it was still quite young, so it was easy to jump in and get into it with a few professional makeup artists that were there. Right now, there's a billion, a mile of makeup artists.
No, everybody's a makeup
artist. I could not live in
yeah.
that world right now. But yeah, then it was really clean and nice and sweet, and we would all share jobs, and it was wonderful.
Interesting.
So like the likes of like Cornell Watch and, you know, the magazines, True Love and them, and then you KTN people. Like I got a lot of quick gigs very swiftly. Mnet was one of my big clients, so yeah.
Interesting.
Built my name.
So you had that particular opportunity to actually be at the heart whereby the cosmetic industry is literally thriving in the United States, which is actually quite a big, what's it called, industry.
Yeah. What
are some of the observations you made and the lessons that you actually gathered that were pivotal to literally, what's it called, towards your journey?
Yeah. So working there, like I said, I freelanced in makeup there. I worked under like superstar professional makeup artists as I was a novice. Just to hone my skills under them, like studied, took everything I could in, and spent a lot of my free time just like doing free jobs. In fact, there was a job, I was trying to get a job backstage at Fashion Week. And I couldn't. New York
Fashion Week?
Yes, I couldn't get a free job.
Oh.
Because I was lining up after like 50 people for that free job.
That's
how
job.
Cutthroat it was.
Wow.
So that cutthroatness is what made me know, you know what, I don't want to do this full time in New York. I'll die. So that's why my bread and butter job was in corporate, in designer era. And so I could only do this on the side there. But so I did gather a lot of skills and information, and I studied a lot and came to bring that back here.
Interesting. What made you come back to Kenya? Because everybody who goes maybe has an opportunity to go out to the countries, like in the land of milk and honey, the land where my dreams come true.
The land where dreams come true and milk and honey, but is it home?
Yeah.
It's not home.
Yeah.
So Kenya is home. I'm such a Kenyan. Like it was never an option for me to not come back. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I knew I was coming back. That's it. And I made my way back. So my husband, my now husband, then not husband.
Boyfriend. Courting you all the way.
Yes, the guy moving to me. Yeah, so he was also looking to move back. He'd been there a long time as well. And we met at the right time. He was being transferred by his job. And I was like, you know, I guess it's time. My parents had also lived there for the time that I was there. And they were also moving back that year. So it was all just like kismet, alignment. We all moved back in 2007.
Interesting. You came back at a point where Kenya was literally transitioning because at that particular time
it was a difficult period. Sir, so, I moved back at the end of October 2007.
Yes.
Got really good jobs really quickly with Mnet. Like we went to Malindi, the Catwalk, Kenya, like whatever. December. Post-election.
Yes.
I didn't work between December and March. And I was like, if it wasn't for my parents and my husband, I'd have taken a one-way ticket back. I was like, I might never work again in my life. Yeah. It was crazy, horrible. But we made it through. Yeah. And 2008 was there, and it was one of my best years.
Interesting. So just take me through that point. So you've come back to Kenya. You still have this particular dream that was temporarily cut short by what exactly happened at that particular point of time. How did you bounce back, and how did the idea of setting up Suzie Beauty come about?
Oh, well, that first 3 months of 2008 was a craziness that nothing was happening. And then, life moved on. People got back to work. And one of my greatest gigs of all time in makeup artistry happened then with, remember Idols?
Yeah.
When they came to Kenya, East and Central African Idols. So I was the key makeup artist and stylist. And that was a 3-month-long incredible gig. It goes down in the books. So that was the
At least that's when you're
same
paid.
year.
It was just for exposure.
It was full on Mnet budget. The best time.
Yeah.
And then I also got married that year. So things were picking up a lot. So I was here to stay. What happened with Susie Beauty? So I did come home with a full suitcase full of product to come and work. And then so now worked. Maybe like a year into it, I'm running out of product, like this foundation, that lipstick is finished. I'm like, where do people buy makeup? Actually, because the last time I lived here was 10 years before.
You're not going to Du Bois.
I did not even know that. It wasn't even there then. And thankfully, nobody sent me there. I do not condone. So I was trying to, find out where people actually buy makeup. They're sending me to that beauty shop, that pharmacy. And I'm finding that what I was buying in the US is like 5 times the price. If they even have the product line that I'm looking for. I'm a makeup snob. If they have the colors I'm looking for. So I'm like waiting to travel, waiting for people to be coming. My brother is coming from New Jersey. I'm like, please go to the store and buy this. And it was just unsustainable. And I was like, at some point I told my husband, I'm like, I'm not the only one suffering. So I guess in the back of my head, I know it was there, that one day I will have a product line as a makeup artist. One of my mentors in my head is Bobbi Brown. She was a makeup artist, started her own line, bought out by Estee Lauder a few years later. So she was one of the people I really studied. When I worked for MAC, I was studying the founders, Frank and Frank. And I was like, I'm going to do what they've done one day in Kenya. I found that I even had like product ingredients lists. And then when I told my husband, I'll make my own. And that's where Susie Beauty was born in January of 2009.
Why did you decide to name it after your name? Susie Beauty, why did you decide to go for your name?
So I wasn't going to. I came up with a lot of very funny names.
What are some of the names on the list?
I'll tell you my favorite one, which
Yes.
I'm not opposed to still, but my mom was like, seriously?
You should.
Can you not? I was going to call it Paka Beauty. Why? Okay, I'm a cat person. I am obsessed with cats. I love cats. I love everything about them. I'm on my 6th cat right now.
You have 6 cats in the house?
No. Through my life.
The 9 lives ended.
Yes. Guys moved on. So my first cat lived, died when she was 15.
15 years?
Yeah. So anyway, I love cats. And then Paka also means to apply, right?
Yeah.
So Paka Beauty, how perfect is that?
Oh my goodness.
It
It would have been like Shika Paka
And
Power.
whoever doesn't like cats will not buy your product. There's people who are superstitious against cats. She's like, come on.
I would have been the same one.
So she was like, why don't you just call it Susie Beauty? I'm like, no, actually, hang on. Susie Beauty, guess what? I had the website www.susiebeauty.com since the year 2001. Because to showcase my work, I had my portfolio on there. SusieBeauty.com has existed since 2001.
My goodness.
I had read it, like it was there.
23 years of existence.
Now, exactly. So now in 2009, when I'm creating this brand, she's like, make it Susie Beauty. I'm like, I don't even need to get a new website. The name exists. Perfect, done.
Interesting. I just...
And people, there was a little bit of that question of, even partners, investors, why Susie Beauty?
Who's Susie?
Change that. I'm like, you change that. No, that's what I'm calling it. And now it's stuck. And it makes sense to everyone. And they still call me, hi, Susie Beauty. Hi, SB. I'm like, yeah. That's good brand building.
Interesting. It's quite capital intensive, literally, to get into the cosmetic industry, because one of the things is that there's no problem manufacturing plant existing here locally in Kenya.
For color cosmetics.
Yes. So just take me through your initial research period. How did you go about it? Because I know it's one thing having an idea, it's another thing bringing it to light. And I think,
so what I found out quite quickly, because I told you I had my list of ingredients, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I've sat with a chemist, we've cooked things, and my bathroom looks like a chemistry lab.
So you're doing it in the house?
Yes, and in the lab, like whatever. So then I went to, my husband was connected with the top professor of chemistry at the University of Nairobi. So I was just now trying to find out where do I get these raw materials, and then just like calling to see where I can mass manufacture internally. So he went through my ingredients list and he's like, oh, no, just crossing out I'm like, what? He's like, oh, none of these exist in this country.
Ah.
I'm like, so where do I buy them? I mean, where do I get them? They're like, you have to import everything. I'm like, that's fine. Maybe I'll figure that out. Okay, when I import these things, who's mass manufacturing? Where are the machines calling all the big, who I would think, I wouldn't name the names. Oh no, I'm like, they're like, yeah, we make body lotion, we make hair cream, we make, different creams and stuff. Nobody makes makeup, color cosmetics. I'm like, wow. So now I had to go digging into where in the world I'm getting somebody to mass manufacture this thing that I've created.
Wow.
And that was that process.
And where did you find that?
I traveled a lot.
Yeah, where did you travel to? What are some of the experts you had?
So there's these big expos that happen all over the world of like beauty expos. So the first one I went to was in China, and that first
China
trip,
do everything.
They do. So it was a Shanghai Beauty Expo we went to in 2009. So we went there. I went there having also like discovered some potential manufacturers from different countries in the world who are going to come to this place. So I could meet them there. In that trip, we also went into different cities throughout. Like this certain city does accessories better. This certain city does powders better. This one does. So I went visiting factories throughout and in Hong Kong. And then we went to also like Malaysia and Thailand. We went to...
You traveled a lot.
We went to some countries in Europe. We went to the US.
Yeah.
Like just looking at showrooms and factories. And yeah, finally settled on who would work with my specs best, who had like the better prices, who could work with my minimum orders. I mean, the minimum orders are so big anyway,
yes.
But who could accept, this new brand and work with me on lower orders, that type of thing. It was a lot of negotiation. But it's good because I did have experience from I told you I worked in designer eyewear in product development. So I was dealing with the Asians a lot inside of product development with eyewear. So it was the same concept, but this is just beauty. So negotiations, knowing how to speak with them, knowing how to negotiate with them, that was very helpful. So like I say, everything we do, like it's a bucket, you're filling your bucket. So that experience was not for nothing. It came to show itself.
Everything came to add up.
Later.
Yeah, and primarily, so when it did add up, it also added up a huge cost or maybe a huge capital investment that you needed and you needed to source for capital.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, what's it called, besides your savings, what's it called, your husband chipping in, you went out looking for funding.
Yeah.
Just take me through that process. How did you look for capital and how did you even manage to convince them to buy into this particular non-existent dream?
Exactly.
I'm like, makeup soon, I don't know how to do boys. Why is this a beauty? Yes.
It's true. That was an interesting process. So yes, we bootstrapped for the first 2 years. Then knew properly what we would need for this mass manufacturer story, get it here to launch. So then started like looking into sources of funds. Like everyone's like, okay, start with friends and family.
They say friends, family, and fools.
Friends and and smart ones in my case.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But we got what we could. Like not a lot was biting, and then formal institutions are just laughable and still are. They just don't support startups. Until today, I'm in fundraise now. And it's like the support is not there. Like if you're pre-seed means before. Like it's a bit of a concept. Yeah, because it's not, you haven't sold anything. They just don't support. So that's now, angel investors are the ones. So at that time, these investment groups, chamas, were formalizing themselves. So there was a bunch of them that I could pitch to. I did pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch, and 2 of them bit and decided to support this non-existent brand, which God bless them till today for believing in me. And in this Suzie Beauty dream. Yeah.
Would you do the same thing again? Would you still go to a chama to look for investment? How exactly, what's it called? How would you rate your initial fundraising?
I would do that. Yeah, if they were available, I would do that. If they are there to be had, absolutely. Yes, they were a good source of fundraising. So they did a bit of it, and the rest I did a bank loan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So also part of your fundraising was that you also got an initial bank loan. And one of the biggest advice everybody usually do when you're starting a business, do not take a loan because you're going to get a lot of pressure to literally pay that loan, and the business hasn't really set up. How did
it was tough?
Was it the only option that was existent, or was it intentional? And how did you manage?
I would never. I always was running away from debt. That's why I wanted investors in place. At least we can work together, and when things go haywire, we're together in this. But that getting that bit from the bank loan was not an option if we wanted to launch, because they'd done what they could, and this balance was remaining that we couldn't move without it. And then so I actually put up. My parents gave me property to put up for the collateral.
Interesting. So they believed in your dream that much that they gave us.
That's the friends and family.
So if they're not done, if everything went wrong, God forbid, what's it called? Your parents will have stayed without their property.
Yes.
Wow. So it was a huge risk.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah. and that bank loan stood in front of, it was like a big cloud over us for the longest time. So I'm glad that season is over.
Interesting.
I'll tell you that.
And before we go on the break, something interesting that you're just discussing about it was that while you're doing all this thing, you're pregnant with your first child.
Yeah, I got married, had 2 children inside of there.
And you're still running around.
Running around like a wild animal.
Speaking of the strength of a woman, how was that period for you? If you just to look back.
Out of body experience. I'm older now, so I could not do it again. But it was just like laser focus maybe, and just knowing this is happening, and this is also happening. Figure it out. Handle it. And I just did. Interesting. Yeah.
On that particular note, we are going to handle ourselves for a small break. I always have these puns going on. They never end. So I'll see you after the break as we continue the conversation with Susie. So welcome back to the Late Night Business. Before we went on a break, we're just having a discussion as to how this particular dream of Susie Beauty was born at a point whereby she's also pregnant with her children, but still trying to also birth this particular new idea, which is such an interesting journey. And you've mentioned it was an out of this particular world experience. Take me through the earlier years of setting up this particular business, because you already gotten your partners, you already gotten your investors, you already have everything put into place. Now you're ready to dive into this. How exactly was it?
So we got the product in, which was like, I'll never forget that feeling. Like all this.
You remember the date?
I launched on December 15th of 2011, but the product actually came 3 months later in March.
Why that delay?
Because
so you
the
launched
product
without a product?
I launched without a product because I could. I knew it. I see that's like I just like everything Susie Beauty. I go with my gut, and it said that's okay to do, and I did it, and it worked fine. We had a big launch, like 100 people, and we had like marketing samples. We took pre-orders, and then people just waited. But also, remember, like I've been talking about this was 3 years in the making. By the time I said I'm creating a product line, like the first article that was written about me in The Nation. Don't forget, I've been working in media makeup, so I have all these media friends who I'm like, I'm making product. They're like, tell us more. Let's write about you. September 2009, it was in The Nation newspaper that Susie Wokabi is creating a product line. I launched in December 2011. So all this time, everyone's like, where is it? So by the time I was launching, they're like, okay, now we can taste a little bit. By the time it was here, it was gobbled up. So there was a big build-up. And with all, like once the first media report came out, it was just a snowball effect. So more and more press around this product that's still not even here. Yeah, interesting. I know, very different.
There's something about you, I think when you had a previous conversation for the book, is that you've hardly spent anything on marketing.
I don't do paid advertising. Sorry, advertisers. Sorry, all you people that call me, that try to charge me. And I'm like, why? And they're like, but because you need it. I'm like, actually don't. So I have, and I have.
How did you build
and
that?
I've never.
Just take me through that.
So poor guys, they can't stand me.
It's a very good way of bootstrapping.
Yes, exactly. I knew I could not afford, I'm not going to put billboards, and I'm not going to put an ad in The Nation. The social media wasn't even strong like that then. So I was banking on myself and my own PR and my big mouth. And every single...
So having a big mouth is a good thing.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine for this.
Yes.
Every single interview I'd be called for, article I'd be written about, I would give my all to it. So that was the way that I got Susie Beauty's name out. That was the only way, and that's all we banked on. And then I would like sponsor events and have my team there doing makeup. So sponsoring meant like you don't pay us for our services and we'll just showcase, and then we get that publicity on that event. So I'm the one who started that. I think that's like off the table now.
Yeah.
So I used to do that a lot and talk a lot, do a lot of talks, like talk about the brand. And so that's how I got the name out there. And so I did not have to. Well, I mean, I have a 2-page article in The Nation as opposed to a small ad for 200,000. All the information is there. Like, why would I say no to that?
Interesting.
Right?
And speaking about bootstrapping, what are some of the things that you actually did? So for those who don't know, bootstrapping is literally finding a way to literally spend less money achieve that which you want to do.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things that you did to bootstrap through your early phases? Because I know it's literally a capital-intensive project. So besides marketing, advertising, what are the other costs that you found a way around it?
So like even like traveling to do these events, like there's an amazing event called Cosmoprof, which is it's a worldwide beauty exhibition. It happens 5 times a year. They actually approached me first, and I don't know what lucky gods were looking down upon me.
Yeah.
And what they have a buyer program, and they invited me to come on the buyer program, which means they import me to whichever event I want to go to. And this is that expo I went to, but it's the same thing. But they bring you in as a buyer, so you give them feedback and you do your buying, and I work work with them on the experience I'm having as a buyer, and they get whatever they get out of me. And I get to do that, like they'll pay for everything, and then I get to do my product development that way. So like that type of thing.
Relationships and building it. Yes.
And social capital is not for nothing. Like networking, I squeezed my networks for all they were
completely
worth. Yeah. So and used all my social capital. Absolutely. I have. I'm very rich in social capital.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what are some of the strategies that you put into place to literally, get to market fast and to literally, because you mentioned, like have the goods move off the shelf? Because it's one thing, I'm Susie Beauty, I'm a makeup artist, I have a brand. And then most people right now, like you can have a brand, but it never moves.
So I did a lot of preparation pre-product getting here. So even I dealt a lot with like my Dr. Gikunda of Linton's. She's like I adore her. She's
I need to get her.
So good to me.
I tried getting in touch with her. She was like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
I'll use my social capital through you to have her here.
Oh, she's awesome. I know she doesn't like being in the media a lot.
You'll convince her for me.
She helped me. Like, I mean, that was my first sort of like I can sell through Linton's. I never ended up doing so, but she held my hand through the process, whatever. I did end up stocking with different other outlets. So just doing those pre-meetings, like I had a sample line, these are the products that will be coming out, this is what I'm doing, can I have shop space? So I was only going to use existing retail outlets. I knew I couldn't afford to start my own brick and mortar shop, and it's too expensive. So, and then also using the existing outlets, using their foot traffic. That's where people come to buy makeup. So like no brainer. Let me start off there and see where it gets.
Interesting. So you ran the business for quite a while. And I remember there's a point you actually mentioned you started feeling tired. Just take me through. Tired in terms of...
I was tired in the beginning. I'm tired now. It's exhausting.
But tired of also just being the CEO and not doing what exactly it is that you wanted to do.
Yes.
So just how did you get to that particular point, considering
Gosh, thanks for reminding me. In fact, I'm so particular about that right now. Well, now it's a different space, and I can handle things a bit differently. But then, I was never comfortable with that title, CEO. But I mean, we needed sort of that person, and who else? So I had to take on the title.
Susie Beauty.
But my strengths are, I know where they are. They are in product. Nobody can touch me. They are in PR and marketing. Those are my strengths. But then, a CEO also has to like oversee finance and logistics and operations and all the things and legal. So I had to have my feelers in everywhere. But my husband was there, dealing with that yucky stuff, or I call it the yucky stuff. He was the main one there, but I still had to be involved.
Your husband is a registered partner in the business?
He is, yes, definitely. He's a director, and I call him co-founder because he was there. We went to China, we did all the things together. While I also tested product on him. He doesn't like that part so much. But yeah, so we did it together. And so I had to do a lot. I had to have my fingers in everything. And it's important, especially for your first time business and just knowing something about everything. But where I could invest in as quickly as possible in the areas that I'm not strong in, I did. Yeah.
Interesting. So at what particular point did the thought of you selling the business come about? Because I know it's your baby, it's your brand, you've built it. At what point did you that thought come about, like I can actually sell this business?
So it didn't. Susie Beauty was a legacy brand. Like my children were meant to take it over. But so what happened, like through the years, I'll use the word undercapitalization, because we were undercapitalized and so struggling. We like the uptake was so much that we were we kept going out of stock on so it's a really good problem to have, but such a bad problem because we needed to keep on stocking up, and stocking up meant still fulfilling those big quantities, those volumes. So we never did have those like huge amounts of money sitting to fulfill the orders. So we were always struggling there. Like I was trying to renegotiate all the time and trying to get product in. We did get one more investor through the inside of there who sort of took over the product, so we don't be out of stock. And then at some point, this is 4 years into retailing, right? We've built the brand. Product is amazing. The uptake is incredible. Keep on getting out of stock, suffering with that. I need a strong strategic partner who's going to come in and hold my hand, give me that backbone. We had done all we could with our abilities and resources, I will say, as we were.
Just how many years in?
4 years into retailing. So put the word out, we're looking for a partner. And sort of started getting talks, and we talked to a bunch of people. There's one particular one that almost went through that just didn't at the last minute. Something came up. And again, it wasn't meant to. If it didn't happen, it wasn't meant to. I don't believe in coincidence. So Flame Tree, I met Harold Bangera, who's a director at Flame Tree Group. And he was very interested. He has many brands under the group. So makeup he didn't have. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to, have a makeup brand. And you've established one, so let's partner. Perfect. Awesome. But I want full acquisition, he said. And I'm like, why? Just be an equity partner. He's like, no, I acquire. So that process took about, it was 6 months long of me even agreeing, agreeing inside of myself. Apart from me and my husband agreeing. And apart from him, even for him, it was a big deal for Harold. So all of us just this big thing, this big elephant on the table now. What do we do? So I had to just really think about it. I spent a lot of time with myself. It was ultimately, I was going to be the decision maker. And big girl panties had to be put on. Like, what is the greater good? What is the end story? I felt like if something big didn't happen right now, I don't know that me or the brand would survive. It wouldn't be a good ending. So something really seriously had to happen. So that ultimately became the decision. I'm like, you know what? These guys will take care of me and the brand will survive. That is the end goal for Susie Beauty to not die. And so, I made the big girl decision. And I said, let's do it. And so we did it. And that was in end of 2015, early 2016. We signed on, and they're a public company, so we had to do the full announcements and everything. And so one of my requirements was that I do go along with the brand, because acquisitions happen where the brand is squashed or killed. But they weren't going to do that, I know. But I also wanted to run the brand. So I signed on to go along with the brand. So they acquired Susie Beauty and me. So when people are like, you left us, I'm like, I'm here. I came with. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you learned on negotiation through that particular process? Because I know it was your first time actually being part of this, and maybe I know you had some conversations before that maybe had fallen through, but also some of the lessons around negotiations that you learned through this experience.
Gosh, a negotiation is a negotiation. It's very much two-way. It's not
one
person. It's not one person enforcing this on the other, and then each party has their perimeters that they are not going to negotiate out of. You know.
What were yours?
Maybe like not under a certain amount of money. Me definitely going along with a brand was part of it. Me creating my own job description. So now I could do my job for the first time.
CEO Council.
I am not the Chief Creative Officer. I want to do my job. I want to do my job for the first time. So yeah, so then, and they also had their perimeters. So it was and teams around us also negotiating for us. So it was a big deal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Out of this particular experience, having built your brand, having sold it, what are the biggest lessons that you gained out of this? Like, I guess, okay, one, my gut is really important where my brands are concerned, and I'm 99.999% right when I go with my gut. And the gut never goes to the gutter.
Gosh. I mean the cheese.
I can't help it.
I know. I know. I can feel you trying to hold yourself back.
I know. Let me just be serious for once.
And then I think clarity is really important. Yeah. You as an entrepreneur, just knowing what your brand means, what it must, where you want it to stand, what is your purpose, what are your end goals, what is, and like not being bullied, and getting your worth out of it is really important. So I feel like I did.
Interesting. Just away from business, I know one of the things that you personally always believe in is about the simple things. And I think also in the book, I think we're just talking about that particular experience. Like the first time I met you, because you had sold your company, it was in the millions of shillings. And then I see you in your old phone cargo and your old Samsung.
He calls it my hoopty. I'm like, it's not. I love her. She's amazing. She takes me everywhere.
I know there's always this particular perception, Susie Beauty sells her billions for tens of millions of shillings. And
so I should have splurged in two things.
I was expecting you to come with a Range Rover.
Oh, ew.
Here's this
Did you hear that? Did you hear that reaction? Ew.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
I'm so not attracted to any of that stuff. Like, everyone who knows me, like, knows the simpler the better. For me, a splurge would be on experience, not on tangible nonsense that's gonna die. And okay, I do like to spend money on food, but then that's my weakness. Like I eat out too much. Exactly. You see, I trust my gut. But no, I don't like opulence. I like frugality. I'm a frugal person, and if something's not worth that to me, I won't do it. I kind of do need to. It's actually time to upgrade my car. I mean, surely it's been more than a decade. But I might get another one like that. Like, it might just be that. Exactly.
There's a lot of fun in it.
Exactly. Listen. So no, I don't do that stuff. No.
Interesting. And how would you say that particular principle that you live by has also carried you through business? Because primarily our lives and our businesses are all intertwined.
It's true. Yeah. My business is my personality, actually, pretty much. I will not spend money that I don't need to spend. And if you're trying to cheat me, you will never get away with it. Where money is concerned, listen.
Everybody.
I know that this thing is worth $1. I'm not going to give you $2. I will not give you $2 for it. Yeah. I have it. I have $6. But I'm not giving you. That's not where it's going, because I know it's not worth that. I will negotiate you to the dust. Oh my! I do not play like my partner. My partner CD. She's like, she's like, it's it might get to 90,000. I know it's 75. It's going to be 75. She's like, but what if? No, there's no what if. I know that it's not worth more. And if they want my business, they will do it for that. Yeah, I'm that person.
So once the big check landed in your account? I know you never want to talk about it, but anyway.
And I never will.
I know. But probably one of the... So, how did you feel, first of all, once that balance has changed in your account? And what was the first thing that you did?
Did it even change? I don't even know that. It didn't change our lives. Like, I mean,
Yeah, of course the bank account
I'm
changes.
me.
Yeah, of course it will reflect. I'm sure now initially probably you're dealing with the branch manager. Now you're dealing with the executive.
Not
The
at
CEO is
all.
calling you.
It's
How are
still
you?
Teresa, my bank manager. It's still no, nothing changed. Like, well, I mean, we took a vacation to breathe, and just like, I mean, it's a new lease in life. Like, it's a new story, a new chapter that we need to start walking into. And like, no, that was it. It was more an emotional change and than a financial
How did
change.
you feel?
It was.
Because you say you can't change, but there's a way. It's a big thing.
It is.
Yes.
It
How
is.
How did you feel?
No, I felt proud of myself. I think that was a feat. Through the years, I know that it was a feat because every single entrepreneur that comes across me is like, please tell us how you did it. Because you know the pain. Like, you know the pain of being in the gutter. and that's what they are experiencing. Because when it's bad, man. I remember telling my husband, I'm like, you know what? If somebody tells me, like, this badness that will end, if you go, you know those garbage trucks that pick up garbage, if you go live in that for 2 weeks straight and only in there, like, you can't leave it, and then this will end, I'm like, call the guys. I'm entering that truck. Like, it's when it's bad, it's bad. So like entrepreneurs are like, you're not in that anymore. Like, end of month was not painful anymore. Like, end of month, I'm the one who's like, excuse me, it's the end of month. Where's the things change like that? And even for my mental, physical, everything health, it was much better. Me being able to think and be able to create more inside of the brand, because when you're stuck in there, you're not even creating anymore. You're not even enjoying.
True. It's month to month.
It's day to day, man. So that ended. So that was really that was a huge.
The struggle is over.
That struggle was over. That is true.
So you're like, it's end month. I'm like, oh, it is.
Oh, yay! It's end month. I was like my BFF Kathy. She's a banker. She enjoys from the 23rd, right? Because I'm like, this is what you feel. This is what you've been doing all this time, and I've been struggling.
Time has moved so fast. I just can't believe it. Just about.
Oh, I know.
I know for us we can talk. There's so much. I think we should do another show with it. But before we get to end, I have 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And I just want to take you through a quick fire. So I'll ask you several questions. And whatever comes to mind, just share it.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing, what is the one thing that you regret spending money on? I know you're a frugal person, so this is a very good question for you.
Yeah. No, you know what? There's so many times like I'll walk out of a store. I'll keep it simple. Like, let's say House of Leather. Every time I come out of there, I feel guilty. Because I went to spend 1,000 and I spent 10. So I hate that feeling. That's it. That's as simple as I get.
Interesting.
Yeah. I spent too much at House of Leather.
The questions here are quite interesting. I just know the answers. If you could we could be transformed into an animal, which one would you choose?
A little cat.
I know, Parker.
Is my spirit animal. Anyone in the cat family. A lioness, a cat. Yeah.
Interesting. What's your hidden talent?
What? It's not hidden, it's public. I'm a really, really good beauty product developer. Like nobody, like you can't touch me. Like I'm really good at that. I realized the other day I'm like, I'm really good at this. That is a talent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do you usually answer the phone? For the other guys. Is that way you answer your phone anyway? How do you answer? I
barely do because I don't pick up phone calls. I hate phone calls. Like, why do you call? Like, have you seen Elsa Majimbo's TikToks? Like, she's like, why are you calling? And you can message. If I do answer, I'm like, what? Yes? I actually probably say yes.
Yeah, you cringe.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
What's next for Susie?
Susie's birthing a new baby in the beauty industry. So coming up this year. Yes.
How long has that gestation period been?
It's been all of last year, the gestation, and then the birth will be mid this year.
So she should be as great as an elephant.
That is what she will be.
with the task. And
all the trimming.
so once it's launched, the trump is going to be, everybody's going to hear it.
We will be roaring.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And elephants have great memory, so we'll remember this.
Awesome. The cheese.
I know, me and my fans.
Yes.
I can't really help it.
No, you can't.
My goodness. But
Yeah.
I know probably we've had so many conversations, and at least I'm lucky to know you as a friend.
Yes.
Yeah, at least I've shared part
And
of the
you've
story.
written about me. You're so
Yes.
sweet. Thank
So
you.
anybody wants to get the book.
And you're
get
coming
it
on my
launched.
podcast next.
Yes, anytime.
Yes,
You can have
I
this
got
particular
you.
conversation.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for having watched this show, The Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and just as we annually say, we are at the Capital Club, the place that you need to be, and a good place to actually conduct your business meetings. And one of the good things about entrepreneurship, and you've talked about, is about being capital rich. And at the Capital Club, you literally get to network with who's who once you remember. So until next time, I'll see you right here at The Late Night Business. See you.